Hey everybody, my name is Silas. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is 3 questions to ask the divorcee you're dating. I have some things I want to share to my regular community. Stick around towards the end. For context, I have been divorced and it was brutal, really difficult, really hard, but I have healed and my life is great now. There's healing. I really have no. I feel like I really don't have. I would say I have some scars for sure, but the pain is gone and the wounds are healed. And the reason I want to make this video is because I have friends now that are starting to date people that have been divorced. I feel like it's going to be a very common theme in the future. There's 2 things that I think will happen. I think we'll see a lot of young people being divorced, and then the trend is going to be more people not getting married. This video is not whether or not I think any things are good. I really want to make this video just as a resource to those who are dating people who are divorced, because I think it's going to happen more and more, and I want. And nobody talks about it. That's why nobody talks about it. I have obviously a heart for divorcees. I am one, remarried, but yeah, these are just some questions I think that you could ask the person that that you're dating that's a divorcee. Obviously, there's going to be sensitivity here, and you're going to need to do it appropriately and discern the right times. But I think they're very important. So number 1. I would just simply ask the person, do you think you're ready to be in a relationship? Obviously, if they're dating you, that you could say that is their answer. Yes, they're ready. But a lot of times people get back into relationships just because they just are afraid to be alone. I know for me, right after I went through mine, I was very confused. I was very confused on where I was at. And so simply having that conversation I think is important. To me, an outright yes, like yeah, I'm ready, is kind of a little sketchy in my opinion, because I think once you go through something like that, it's a little bit more loaded. This is such a loaded topic here, so I can't get into a ton of details. So obviously there's a lot of different nuances to this, but I'm just going to stick to the questions. That's a good question to ask. Do you think you're ready to be in a relationship? Because I think you can just learn a lot about the person at the very least. Number 2, what has your journey of healing looked like? Divorce is a super painful, difficult thing, and yeah, I think when I think back to mine, it was very, very painful. But the good news from it is that I learned more about myself, what I believed, and who I am, the issues I have, the past trauma that I have. I learned more about all that stuff walking through divorce than I ever did about anything else in my life, from anything else in my life. And out of the pain, created opportunities for me to really find healing from past trauma, past issues, things that I brought into my marriage, things that I would bring into every relationship before that. I'll give you one for example. I really, really, really didn't ever understand just the concept really of being loved for just being me, just being. I only ever understood the concept of love because of something I do. And yeah, I learned that from being a kid and my parents, my dad leaving, and just kind of never experiencing somebody loving me just for me being. I always felt like I had to do something. And so a lot of forgiveness from past wounds and things like that. My journey of healing, it's a lifelong thing, But I definitely think that there is a level at which I think someone is healed enough to where they could enter into another relationship. That is a whole different conversation for another time. But so that question is a good one to ask. What has your journey of healing looked like? If they say anything along the lines of like, I don't need healing, or I'm fine, or I don't have the issues, they have the issues, that's sketchy to me. And then the last one, and this is probably the heaviest and hardest, most difficult one. You're not expecting an answer here, but it's a good question to ask. Have you forgiven your ex? That is, whether or not they have, I'm not saying you should just like break up with them, but I think it's an important question to ask, because if there is no forgiveness and there's just hatred and anger and bitterness, all those things, all that stuff is going to be inside them, and that is going to continue on, and it is going to carry a lot of heavy weight into another relationship. I think, I think the moment, I remember for myself, the biggest breakthrough came when I really, really, truly forgave my ex. And the irony of it was that the forgiveness truly came when I really realized how messed up I am and how bad I was. There was this is a long story, I'll share it another time if you want, but I asked God at one point to help me see my ex the way, like see her clearly, almost not from my lens, but almost hers. And in this crazy way, he showed me her perspective. And I remember this specific day thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I would have left me too, honestly. Or I would have, even that is probably a skewed version, because I think I was just as responsible in leaving, but that's the whole different story. But I remember just being like, dude, I freaking was terrible, and I was hurtful and mean and just bad, just like overall hurtful. And once I was able to see that, forgiveness was like, of what anything she did was like not just in my head but in my heart, because I was just like, I actually felt genuinely sorry for the person I was. So yeah, I would ask that question: have you forgiven your ex? And again, I think a lot of these things are to just draw things out. Like if you're gonna date someone, kind of the whole point of this is to get to know them. And those are heavy, difficult, hard questions. But if you do really like this person, or you're interested in this person, you love this person, you're going to need to ask these questions at some point to get to know them a little bit more, and maybe walk alongside them through it. It's just a heavy, difficult thing. This whole thing is difficult. I remember part of the reason I'm making this video is because when I went through this, I just felt like I had no resources and didn't really know how to think about it or feel about it. Nobody ever talks about it. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, those are the 3 questions. To my regulars, I want to check into you. I'm feeling a little bit better. Yesterday, I actually made a video, went to post it, but then I sent it to my wife, and she basically vetoed it. She was like, I'm not ready. I don't know if you should share all those things yet. So one of the things that I'm struggling with doing YouTube again is, how much do I share? My story is not just mine anymore, and that's something that's hard for me to understand, but I'm trying to understand it. I don't want to just dishonor my wife by sharing all of the stuff in my life if that's not what she wants me to share. And so I understand that, but it gets really frustrating at times. Like yesterday I made a whole video and I wanted to talk about pornography and addiction, and I shared my story, and I sent it to her, and I was like, what do you think? And she was like, I don't know if I'm ready for you to share all that yet, which I get, but I was mad because I spent all the time making the video, and I couldn't post it. So my question to my regulars is, what do you guys think? How much of my life should I share? One of the things that matters most to me is just like being real. But I don't know oftentimes the line between being real and then sharing too much. And so, what do you think? I feel better than I did last weekend. Still trying to figure out how to just be me and not get my sense of value or worth from what I do. But I still definitely do. And I know this because I feel really bad when I'm not succeeding. So that's all for today. I wanted to ask your thoughts on that, but appreciate you that have been following along. Lanny really encouraged me with this comment. I'm gonna read this one. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Let's see here. Community, right here. Lanny, it seems crazy, but I'm finding a sense of peace and okayness about myself in learning to accept the reality of who I am and where I am in life, the good and the bad, the wanted and the unwanted in each day as the day unfolds. I'm willing to accept failure when I've honestly tried and be a nobody so that I can feel and see myself as okay, even when other people don't see me as okay. As you touched on, Silas, living in honesty with myself and with everyone in my life, though potentially threatening to my ego, is freeing and life energizing in ways quiet as well as dynamic. This video is a gift to each of us hungry for life. Thanks to you, our courageous brother, for sharing your journey with us. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate Adrian. I appreciate you responding. Omar. And Rich as well said a really good comment. But as I've said before, a lot of this, what I'm doing right now is posting just so that I practice not living in fear, not waiting to be perfect before I share, not trying to put all the perfect words together so that it will be perceived well. Even this video, this topic about divorce, like sometimes, like even as I was sharing it, I was just like, is this stupid? You know, are people gonna look at this and be like, you're an idiot? And the answer is, I don't really know, but that's not really the point. I think the point is, one, to be courageous, and two, to provide some help for a friend out there. Like I have a literal friend right now who's dating a girl who has been divorced, and these are questions I'd tell him, hey, you should ask her this. Like, not out of judgment, but just out of care and concern and desire to get to know somebody. So thanks for watching this video. Thank you for commenting and encouraging me. If you've made it this far, I really do appreciate your feedback. So keep giving it to me. Answer the questions. Shout out Pete from Germany. Shout out Omar, Adrian, Evan, Annie, all these guys that have been kind of keeping up. Appreciate you guys.